Welcome back, and today I'm doing a watch review. Actually, this is of my personal Longines Hydro Conquest, shown right here. We'll get right to it right now. What I have here is my Longines Hydro Quest. It's in one of the multi-colors it has, PVD gold on the bracelet, and also some other gold and gold tone on the crown, on the bezel, and some of the indices inside. First, I thought this watch would be too heavy for me and too big. It is a large watch, but it's not my largest watch. I'll show you. One of my largest watches is the Citizen, and I use this basically anytime I'm out working in the yard. And this right here is not quite as big. I'm surprised though. This is heavier though, because it does have a steel bracelet than this one is. But this isn't too big for my wrist, and I have a 6-inch wrist, 6 1/4 to 6 inch. So if anyone's gonna feel this being big on the wrist, that's gonna be me. I did have to remove multiple links. There's only a half link here and half link on the other side left, versus like I think 3 more on either side. And my other video actually shows how I remove those links. But let me show you it on my wrist. The way I deal with the links is usually the watch sits up near the top of my wrist versus the bottom. Many times if the watch is sitting halfway down, you look at your watch, you'll fall down. This one here stays up high no matter what I'm doing. So I was saying this one usually sits up with the top of the body, top of the head kind of curves on the top of my wrist. And anytime I look at my watch, it stays right there. It doesn't really budge, and it goes up and down still. So there's room in case my wrist expands, which it does, but it just does not fall down. Stays up there. Some room down here, you can see. Put my finger in there. Many times watches will fall down and end up like that. This one doesn't. And I managed to set mine so it doesn't actually fall down. I actually do this with my other bracelets too. Now looking at other watches in comparison, I have them here. Before we get going, I want to review the Longines website, because there are 3 different types of Hydro Conquests. So what we have here is the Longines website. This is considered a sport watch and also considered a diving watch. Now, because it's a diving watch, it actually has a clasp that is fairly stout and will not come off the wrist very easily. There are 3 different types of Hydro Conquests. The first has a ceramic bezel and is an automatic and self-winding basically, or you can hand wind it. The second is a non-ceramic bezel or standard aluminum bezel or steel, and is also self-winding automatic watch. And the third is a quartz version. So when you go look at them, there's 3 different price tiers. I believe the top end one with the ceramic bezel is usually in the $1,800 price tier. The second one with the non-ceramic bezel is in the $1,400 and less price tier, because they come in different sizes. And the third quartz one, I believe, goes up to $1,000, maybe $1,100. And they come in different colors. We'll look at them right here. We're going to sort this by price. So we see the top ones here. These come with metal bracelets or rubber straps. And I believe some of them actually come with both, but I believe those are the ceramic ones. Let's see, actually I was wrong. $2,450, the top price for these now. 43 millimeters. You have multicolored ones, as I have. They come in a variety of multicolors. These over here, as you can see, come in 3. Hydro Conquest here. These come in multiple colors too. All depends on what you like. And as you can see, you can just go to the website and see all these different colors. You have black dials, gray dials, blue dials, a wide variety. Down here, if you look at this one real quickly, 1600. This one's an automatic. If we look at the least expensive one, the Hydro Conquest for $1,000, you'll see this should be a quartz watch. It is quartz, and it's at 39 millimeters. This is a 41 millimeter. So they come in different sizes, as you see. Here's a 44. So there's a wide variety of them. The ceramic ones with the top price tier, all the way down to the quartz ones at the lowest price tier. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to switch over to this camera real quickly to take a look at it in more detail. This watch is a diver's watch, so it's designed to go underwater. Has a couple features here. This crown and crown guard, it's a large crown. It's a screw-in crown, and it seals the case, so there's no water penetration. We'll get to that in a minute. On the bracelet, we have this heavy-duty clasp that will not come out underwater. A lot of people don't like this clasp because it is hard to open, but I'm assuming if you swim, you want a clasp like this. Push button clasp, I can see accidentally hitting it while swimming. If you move over and adjust it like that, and so any push button, you could lose your watch, you could float down to the Titanic. Be a little bit hard to get then. This one, you got to fold over there. And then the larger trifold right there. That basically folds over. 1, 2, 3 pieces, just like that. And then this goes over that. Says it's waterproof. The 300 meters. Nice Longines emblem right here. And a really pretty bracelet. Has gold, polished gold in the middle. Slightly brushed on the sides. The edges are smooth. It's not going to rip any hair off of you or scratch up your skin. See, the lugs are nicely curved. They're nicely polished. See, the lugs are nicely curved, and it's a nicely polished body. High mirror polish on the side and a matte polish on the top. The crown guard here is to protect the crown from accidentally bending, breaking, because it is a tall crown. And it is screw-in. That means it screws into the body to prevent any water penetration for when you actually use it for swimming, which I'll probably never do. If anything, it's going to get wet by the garden hose, and that's about it. But to use this to change the time or anything, or the date, we have to unscrew it. So we rotate it counterclockwise. Bingo, there it is. Took more rotations than I thought. You can see I can push it in slightly. By this point, I can manually wind it just by doing this, and I'm rotating it clockwise. 2 clicks out, I can set the time. And it is hacking. Hacking is when it stops the second hand. I didn't want to change the date because it's set for today. And if you push it in one, the time starts again. Now, as I mentioned, you can see this pushes in, and that allows you to push it in and screw it back into the body. Once you get it started, just kind of screw it in, and it stops. Now, this looks like it's a little bit, the corners seem a little bit sharp, but they're slightly chamfered, slightly buffed down. It's not bad. It helps prevent the crown from getting bent from hitting your wrist if it moves forward. So it does its job, and hasn't really irritated me at all moving forward. The bezel, of course, rotates around. I think it's 120 clicks. Very accurate. What we're going to do next is hit this with a flashlight for a few seconds and see what it looks like at night. Gotta say one thing, this blue dial is really gorgeous. The way it reflects light back and forth. Here we go. Look at that, not bad at all. Let's let it sit for a minute. Seems to hold its lume for a little bit, considering I didn't charge it very much. If I was outside charging for in the daylight for an hour or whatever, I would think it would hold a little bit better. These things used to be built for deep sea diving. That's why it has such a heavy, hard case and a thick crystal, and there's no display back. Now, as I said, this is a large watch and heavy watch. Let's compare it to my Longines flagship, which is more of a dress watch. As we have here, here's a flagship. As I mentioned, these have push pins on them. You push the side here and it just opens right up. Something you don't want to happen while you're underwater. See the size right here? Quite a bit difference. Thickness, quite a bit difference there. Of course, this is half as light as the Hydro Conquest. But I certainly wouldn't take this in the water. This will just get flooded and stop working. Now this one has a display back. You can see through and you can see the rotor right there. The gold thing that rotates and helps wind the mainspring. The Hydro Conquest does not have display back because it needs the water tightness. Has a gasket around this large steel plate back here that's wound into the body. To give you another example of this Tissot, this is a Powermatic 80. It's a very common size. Closer to the same size, except for thickness. It's actually quite a bit closer to the thickness also, but a lot lighter because it has a leather strap, a leather padded strap too. See here. And this Tissot also has display back, but it's more of the specific Tissot information on it. It's a really pretty watch. You can see its rotor back there too. And nicely matte and looks like vertically brushed sides, polished bezel ring. Really interesting dial. As you can see, this is rose gold. This crown is quite a bit bigger than like on the flagship. This one's easy to manually wind, but it is small. It's kind of hard to do it. Because this one's nice and big, and this one is very easy to wear daily. Very easy to wind up. Take a look at that dial. It's such a pretty dial. When I bought this, I didn't think I was going to like it because when I got it, it was just so heavy and larger than what I thought. But I wore it for a bit, set it for my wrists, and it's keeps time perfectly. I have it in this case overnight, and I can see what time it is versus the other ones. There are 4 other automatics and 5, 6, 7 other quartz watches here, so I can compare what time it is and compare it to my cell phone, so I know which ones seem to last a long time. This one I've had no problem with whatsoever. It's very easy to wind. It's a really good watch, and I like it. I'm going to keep it. A really pretty watch, and of course it tells time. I'm not the type to keep my cell phone on me at all times, so I like to have a watch to see what time it is. Now, of course, it is a more of a luxury watch. Now, Longines doesn't make the cheapest watches. They make some nice high quality watches for the price. They were bought out, I believe it was in the 80s by the Swatch group. So they're part of a large conglomerate of watchmakers and movement makers. So on the low end, they'll have like Hamilton, Certina, and Mido, and also Tissot. Tissot is popular because they actually sponsor MotoGP if you're into motorcycle racing. You see it on the billboards, the backgrounds all the time. And Longines kind of is a bridge between that lower end group and taking it up to the upper end group like the Rados and the Omegas. There's a wide variety of Longines. As this one shows, they have the upper end ceramic ones, the middle end non-ceramic ones, and both of those are automatic self-winding, then the lower end quartz watches. So you got a wide variety of that plus different sizes. And really this, I looked at other ones and there's cheaper ones. You know, Tissot makes dive watches. I didn't think they'd look as nice as this one. Certina does. All the other brands do. Up above, Omega does, but it's basically twice as much, you know. If you compare it to a Rolex, the Rolex has higher quality polishing. It's just a higher quality watch, but you're paying at least 4 times as much. And if you're looking for a really nice luxury, high quality, excellent build watch, that's an actual dive watch, then this Longines brand is really good. The ones below it, I don't think could really be a dive watch per se because they have quick detached latches, which won't work underwater very well. Well, they do work underwater very well, but you don't want it to work underwater very well. So if you actually do swim, this is the bracelet to have. If you don't, it could be a little bit annoying. I find it a little bit annoying because I have to actually pull up on the sides. I don't have big fingernails, so I can't really pull up where most people would. So I pull up on the sides to get off my wrists. But I certainly would recommend this brand. I like Longines brand. I used to collect them back in the 80s. Also Citizens brands and Seiko's. A wide variety of high quality watches out there that last a long time. The really cheap stuff you get in department stores will probably break over time. They may look good, look flashy, look fancy. As soon as you get above $500 though, the watches will usually last a long time, especially like Seiko's. But one of the next price points above Seiko's is like a Longines and Tissot, and these are really nice watches. This one will stay in my collection for a long time. I've already been using it basically every day. I actually use most of my automatic watches every day so they can stay wound. I have noticed some of them don't keep their power as long as the other ones. I'll be running a test soon of which ones when I wind up 100% last the longest. Because I know this one is about 60 hours maximum power reserve. The Powermatic 80 supposedly is 80 hours, but I noticed the other Tissot that I have seems to have problems past 14 hours, it seems. Anyways, if you're looking for a Hydro Conquest, I highly recommend it. For the price point, I think they're an excellent value for the money. Very sturdy, should last a lifetime. I wouldn't worry about getting it too wet as long as you have the crown screwed in. It'll be watertight. Of course, it is an automatic. Some automatics do require maintenance from time to time. If you notice the time start lagging, it may require some maintenance. Nowadays, though, from the old days, they use synthetic oils nowadays, and it tends to stick where it needs to and tends to last a long time versus like 20 years ago when they weren't using quite as good synthetic oils or even natural oils, where they would end up clogging up after a while. Kind of like getting an oil change in your car. Well, these synthetic ones are really, really good and makes the watch last and keep time for a very long time. That's all for now. Any questions, comments, put it down below. If you have one, leave a comment how you like it, what you like about it, what you don't like about it. Because so far, I really don't see any negatives for what you get for the money and why it's designed a certain way. Well, that's all for now for my watch time. If you haven't seen it, take a look at it. You can get them in the gray market too. The Longines Hydro Conquest. They also make a version that's non-hydro, I guess, just called the Conquest, and lower price point. Still an excellent watch. You may want to look at that also. I hope those are helpful. Any questions, comments, please put it down below, and we'll see you next time.